So we're just getting rolling. Couple things up above in the nest for you guys. Link to the Thursday space with Chris Hackett, Film 3, talking about getting into phase 2 of our NFT series and whatever other technology piques our interest in regards to AI filmmaking or filmmaking in general, the traditional kind. Also, the recording session from 2 weeks ago is available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Have a listen if you haven't yet. As I have stated on the timeline, February is a month in which the Chicago 1893 documentary performs well. I think it's the romance angle in the film. If you haven't seen it yet, the original cut of the film, not AI cut, it's up on Amazon Prime. There's a link to that. And then finally, I'm working on releasing Investigating the Pied Piper of Hamlin. It'll be an ebook and audiobook. As most folks know, I am trying to put out an audiobook once a month this year. We are on track for February right now, and things are looking good for March as well. So, Terry, you're up here. What are you working on? What do you have going? What do you want to talk about? Tell us about how things are coming along for you.
Hey, good afternoon, Michael.
Hey.
Good to see you or hear you. Wow, I can't wait for your next audiobook. That's good. That's super exciting. Wow. You are prolific, putting out one a month. That's amazing.
Well, I'll tell you how I do it.
Oh, cool.
So the first 3 months of this year are going to be repurposing material that was previously produced. I have found a way to create some Amazon exclusives and basically kind of break apart some of the national park compilations into standalone releases, making them exclusive on there in both ebook and audiobook to kind of beef out the catalog on that side of things. And then, obviously this month, Chrissy and I last year released the Pied Piper series. So I'm taking all of that writing that I did for the voiceover and also the version of the narrative that we compiled and putting that out as an ebook with a bunch of imagery, historic imagery. And then, again, audiobook, because it was all recorded. So I basically just had to kind of punch a bunch of stuff in here and there where I added either some new things or discovered some additional facts in additional research. So yeah, I think in that way, like, you can dig through your catalog and find new ways to release material and extend your reach and get more mileage out of what we produce. I think that's really important. Again, to the folks hanging out, if you want to come up, grab a mic. Heidi says she's driving. She's just listening today, but maybe she'll come up after a while. Who knows? We'll see. This is only the beginning. But yeah, Terry, thank you. I appreciate that. You are equally as prolific, honestly. You're out there doing a bunch of stuff too.
Thank you. I love that you're talking about extending the catalog or the subject, right? Or creating more content from what's already existing. Because sometimes, even in my own, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I've got all of this content. And it just keeps growing and growing. But going back to it actually puts you in this subject matter expert category now, so that when you kind of reuse it and put it out there and classify it, I think that's just a great thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. It is not everybody uses every platform, right? And some are dedicated to one or another. And I just find that it's really important to distribute as broadly as we can because we're indie creators, and finding the audience where they exist is the way to go, as opposed to trying to make them find you where you choose to be exclusive. And like, that's not to say don't do exclusive things. use the platforms, optimize around the feature set that they have. But at the same time, uh, and you know this as well as me, you're doing editorial, you're doing pictorial, you're doing audio stuff, you're doing video stuff, and to remix all these assets and to make them viable for whatever audience, wherever they may be, that to me is kind of how we, try and find people that have similar interests or needs. That's the other side of things.
I think that's very, very, very wise advice. It really is. I've got to follow it because sometimes I feel like I get caught up in like, oh, I really need to put this type of content out because I love it, but my audience may not necessarily appreciate it. But it's just great advice.
Well, sometimes we put out hits. Sometimes we put out clunkers. But this is a point I made yesterday in the writer's block with Heidi. These are experiments that we do, and I think that it's important to follow through with them, discover the ways in which we can create, and then to also do grow our understanding of how people will appreciate that. Not everything is for everybody, and that's all right. Sorry about that. I was getting a call there for a second. Not everything is for everybody, and not every format is for everybody. And I think that some people don't want to physically read something. Some people only want to listen to something. Some people can't listen to things and they can only read, and they may not have the desire to do a physical read. They may only want to digitally read on a device. So, and the other side of things, and this as well, is some people only want to watch things, and to make it as viable for the many different ways that people kind of consume media or appreciate artwork. I think that's kind of the crux of what I'm getting at here. And, you express in a lot of the same ways, which is, fantastic to see somebody out there doing it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, sometimes I feel like I need to cut across all the channels. And I think that's what you're saying. It's like, either it's audio or video or physical book or digital book. It's like, wow, we have to hit all those to have our, so that we don't miss an audience that may appreciate what we're doing.
Are you doing audiobooks yet?
I did one. I did not do it myself. I get too nervous. It would take me far too long. So I hired Christy Lynn, who is amazing. Her voice, when we went over the entire book I had an outline of all the characters and who they were and how they respond, what they look like, things like that. She just took that on and she was incredible. I just loved it. And that was for Laundry Gate and volume 2. And I know you put my feet to the fire last time.
Right.
I was in this, and I've got 3,500 words left to go and I'm finished.
Oh, you're almost there.
I'm almost there. You know what it's like to do the last couple of thousand words? It's like, oh, but what if there's a twist? I kind of let the book speak for itself sometimes. But Christy will definitely do the narration because now I can't become any of these characters because her voice is it.
You hear her.
Yeah, I hear her. I can't hear myself anymore.
Well, don't discredit yourself. You have a good voice. I think you could do readings for your material, and maybe, you keep that series with Christy, but maybe you explore some other stuff. I think that maybe it's just a matter of playing around with it and discovering, how you like to produce it. I'll go really slow with stuff. I'm not necessarily always stressed about a deadline. There are things that I recorded last year that have not yet been released. They are slated for this year. We'll see if I make it. But at the same time, like once you have it recorded, you can always return to it and continue working on it when you have the time or the will.
I agree with that. That's just a great way of working to kind of put it down. Like it took me 4 years just to get to this point on Laundry Gate 2 because I had to let it rest. And I think that's also important to do with our work.
Absolutely. Ricky, Blue to Black, you guys are up on stage. And also, for anybody hanging out, if you guys want to come up, you're more than welcome. We got a request. I'm looking. Yeah, we got somebody else requesting. But if you guys want to, promote anything or ask questions, feel free. This is what this is for.
Thank you. Hi, Michael and Terry and everybody else. Yeah, I'm a poet myself. I'd love to share a poem with you, but I think there's something critical that you're kind of mentioning here with the whole process here, and that is that in between writing, publishing is designing. And how are you designing it, and what are you designing it for, and how are you kind of designing it, and what sense of authorship are you using? In my own regards, I like to kind of play around with blockchain technology in terms of authorship. But then again, it always comes down to what is your capabilities in terms of, digital publishing. Digital publishing then means that you really can have a lot within it. You can have links to, videos. You can really grow the content to be much more than what it appears to be. So digital content and the designing thereof is quite a decision in terms of what technologies are you using, how are you kind of implementing that, and in the end of the day, I really believe in the proof of authenticity of blockchain technology, but that's just my angle. Thanks for the stage.
Hey, no sweat. Yeah, the thing in regards to like token and blockchain, I have been utilizing the technology to distribute media for a while, and I think it enables, again, a new audience of people to find your work. It also allows you to extend into different opportunities. So, shout out to Neil. We are working on the Project Astral film and series of NFTs with that. And really the thinking behind it is to, give people the tools to make their own artwork or videos out of those assets in the same capacity that we have been making our film. And there is a buy-in component to that, but in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of work that Neil put into that stuff. I feel like it's reasonable to make it something that people participate in that way. Ricky, you're up here. What are you thinking? What are you doing? How's your day?
Yeah, Michael, thanks for having me. So I've been actually I had a lot of irons in the fire lately. Work's been really busy, doctor's appointments, but everything's going good in that regard. I've been writing chapters for this experimental project. I'm almost up to 20K. The outline's solid, and once I finish this thing, I hope to get back to Wargate 2, which I'm about at the halfway mark for, closing in on 50K. Yeah, so I also been editing the book about writing little by little. I've been finding little bits and pieces of it that are, despite my best efforts to keep them organized, they were scattered like autumn leaves all over the place. Yeah. So that's pretty much about it, man. Putting together some new stuff and just enjoying it not being the holidays, you know?
Yeah, I feel like now I tried to hit the ground running as soon as the year started to really kind of keep something rolling out, not just on a monthly basis, but really as often as I can. You know, once a week is kind of what I've been shooting for so far. You know, hopefully I'm not overwhelming people and making them dart all over the place. But at the same time, you know, going back to what Terry and I were talking about, people will dial in on particular things and only certain styles of things. So I, you know, have been wanting to make sure that I'm manufacturing and releasing something for wherever they're coming from. And also it gives you something to promote around and to talk about. And, you know, here we are talking. I feel like this is a good opportunity. If you guys have anything that you want to put up in the nest or in the comments, you know, feel free. This is for you, you know. Blue, I don't think you've been here before. So maybe give us a little bit of background on what you work on, your projects, anything like that.
Well, thank you very much. I am a curator, a publisher, welcoming publisher, and then also a producer of the Web3 Artist Awards. So basically, it's a long story how I kind of came to be but the main thing is that it is about kind of blue to black. Blue to black is not about me. It really is about a procession of artists that was promoted by Blue to Black. So the different artists that actually contributed to what Blue to Black is today, which is a list of, you know, lots of different artists and lots of different artists with giving their support. But at the same time, it has an audience of, you know, quite a number of places around the world, about 155 different countries that have kind of like, you know, had an interest in what's happening with Blue to Black. So that really put me to a position where I needed to kind of ask myself, what would be the voice of the underground and how would I come to kind of design community driven projects to get to that, you know, that exposure of who's the artists of the underground, who are the ones really kind of moving blocks in terms of harnessing technology and so forth. And they also then in turn inspire me. And then I created a curation of when art has a voice, which was really just kind of investigating, you know, what is the voice of art, as a kind of opening up curation and issue one. And then from that, I kind of curated a whole bunch of writers within the Web3 space, including Terry here, in terms of, you know, contributing to creating a digital magazine, Revolutionary Art, which is under construction at this very moment. And then also, you know, gathered around different types of brands and so forth to try and kind of capture the Web3 ecosystem in terms of producing the Web3 Artist Awards, where we did kind of celebrate, you know, poetry and spoken word and these type of things. And even though there were more divisions within literature that could have been awarded, a lot of them fell out without these artists, you know, having actually migrated enough onto blockchain technology to be represented. So I do hope that more writers actually adapts, and adopt more blockchain technology, because that means that I can also shine some light on what they're doing, what are the projects that they are busy with, and how the public are kind of recognizing their own celebrities. But you know, the funny thing is that in these things, we are still able to be innovative in what we do. But at the heart, I still am a poet, and I actually collaborated on a poem with one woman here that is now in the panel. So if you like, I'll present this poem to you called "Beauty and the Beast." Are you up for that, Michael?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to start, and then one woman is going to take over from me. So just give me a second there to kind of get into character, and then just sit back and relax. And I hope you enjoy the poem. Like I say, spoken word is such an old art, so you just have to marvel at it at times. So enjoy Beauty and the Beast. On a dark, cold, cloudy night, as lightning strikes and thunder roars, I confronted the demons within my soul. You shouldn't look at me, for I'm a beast, a monster driven by primal desires, uncontrolled and unreleased. When I gaze at you, I'm consumed by the urge to grab you tight, to rip your clothes off and pull you close, sinking my teeth into your neck's tender light. I'll howl like a wolf, scratching your back with savage delight, growl like a tiger, biting your nipple as our passion takes flight. I'll snort like a mad bull, pulling you in with unbridled might, nick aloud as a stallion as you open your legs, and our love becomes a primal sight. This is the beast within me, a force both fierce and wild, the monster that cannot be tamed, the heart that's been defiled. Yet you touch my wild chest with a tender hand, gentle caress that soothes the savage beast and calms the stormy land. Don't you know that I will crush my enemies and bathe in the blood of my foes? Your soft lips reminds me of the cries after a battle, the sound that my heart knows. I should beat on my chest like a gorilla and dive like an eagle for the kill, for I'm a monster, a creature driven by instinct, unrelenting and unstill. But do you not see the monster in the darkness, the beast that lurks within? Do you not know that I will devour those who hurt you and protect you with my life's skin? And so I'll wear this mask of savagery to hide the heart that beats within. For in your eyes I see a glimmer of love, a beauty that can tame the beast and win. Perhaps one day I'll learn to tame this monster, to calm the stormy sea, and find a love that's strong enough to heal the wounds of me.
Dear one, don't push me away with your with your anxiety and fear. Don't you know at my heart, behind my light touch, my gentle caress, lies the heart of a lioness? I roar with a passion that is my own. I bite, I tear, I burn at the thought of your touch, your kiss, the rasp of your tongue, and I rise to meet you. My heat, my fire, every bit as great as yours. But, dear one, I am neither beast nor beauty. I am passion. I am desire. I am an ever present hunger for life, for a shared life. Meet me halfway, kiss for kiss, lick for lick, touch for touch. Let my hips rise to meet yours. Let us breathe in rhythm. Let us move together in a duet that becomes a single song, which only the two of us can create. Let our blood, sweat, and tears mingle. Let them as they were meant to mingle. Let us whisper, sigh, laugh, and cry as one, as we were meant to be. Let us just be us, neither monster nor victim nor object to be used. Dear one, let us be us, purely as we were meant to becoming one, forever changed by our shared embrace, our shared passion. No monsters are we, neither beastly nor beautifully, only two lovers who escape from the chaos of the world into each other's embrace, into a shared passion, giving meaning to being. Poem.
Beautiful. Yeah, very good. Additionally, one woman, welcome to the space. I don't think you've been here before either. Tell us about you.
Yeah, it was. Thank you for letting us read, and I'm delighted to be here. I'm a painter. I paint in the real world as well as I work digitally, and have helped create two apps as an alpha and beta tester with a woman in Finland, so that I can paint on my iPad as well. And I'm a poet. Matter of fact, my degrees are in creative writing, literature and creative writing, and I taught for a short while. And poetry is my passion, that and painting. Thank you.
Clearly. So who wrote what? Did you guys kind of divide things up, or tell us about the process of creating that?
Yeah, so the spark of the idea really is actually an investigation into the male gaze and just kind of how the male gaze has been kind of demonized. And then I kind of wrote the first part, and as soon as I've done writing it, then I went to one woman. I said, like, what do you think? Do you see kind of a collaboration of some sort in terms of building a duet out of it? And she was very fast to respond to it, and did an amazing part of it, and even wrote the follow up to the conversation with another poem. So there is actually an extended version of it as well.
Yeah, very cool. Just so you guys know, I record this session locally and then it goes out on podcasts. There's no problem with that because you did this reading. Right?
No worries.
Okay, good.
It's not for sale, actually. It is not actually for sale. It's just a collaboration. But it was a very nice collaboration. She's not using blockchain technology, so it's just a very nice collaboration.
Yeah, very good. How'd you guys meet? Where'd you connect first?
I invited her to also be part of the magazines as a writer. So I really kind of go by, the reputation of the people and so forth in terms of selecting some of the artists that I collaborate with. So I was intending on collaborating with her in the magazine, but then we ended up collaborating through the poetry.
Yeah, very cool. Love it. Ricky's coming back up. Let's see what he's thinking. Ricky, go ahead. You're here. You're hanging out.
Well, I'm a great admirer of, pardon me, of poetry, especially living poetry, authentic poetry like that, and spoken word. I have a spoken word album from back in the day, 2004, Machinations of the Cybernetic Phantom God. It's on Spreaker.com. It's like the word speaker with an R, Spreaker.com. And I dug what I heard. Basically, the only reason I'm even talking is it's my intention this year to get going a spoken word, open mic, poetry, posy read on Mount Timeless. Like, in other words, we would record it here on X and then it would go to Spotify like all the others. So I'm gathering poets. I already have a small retinue, a coterie, if you will, but I'm gathering poets, and it's like the more the merrier, so we should keep in touch, because poetry and spoken word doesn't, you have to unify. You can't, you know what I mean? There's not enough of us otherwise,
Side note also, it sounds like you guys are both doing compilations of works. There might be some collaboration opportunity there between Mount Timeless and Blue. I don't know. I don't tell people what to do, but I'm just picking things out of the air, right? We're just hearing things.
Who knows? I haven't collaborated with spoken word in quite a long while, but I've been gathering materials for the purposes of maybe doing. People say albums are dead. I don't think albums are dead at all. I like albums, and I'm trying to see about that. But I got a lot of irons in the fire here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should. Is it all right if I read a poem really quick? Or
absolutely. You don't have to ask.
Yeah. Well, I figure we'll just see here because. All right. So this one is called Doomsday Maps. Have you heard of El Dorado in the Grand Canyon? How about the maps of prophesied America? California, Arizona, Nevada, gone. replaced by scattered islands surrounding one, the Pacific extending deep into Wyoming. The Mississippi River is 20 times as wide. Our oligarchs are buying land which corresponds to this. Hundreds of years from now, shall they be lords? Our sons and daughters serfs to their latter-day nobility? Evolution devours those who must flee. Such a wilderness, then, where elder shadows might emerge. All the more, Appalachia becomes a mythical elf zone. Our commercial utopia melted away into legend. As the song of astral fire and frosty radiation weave the dream of our doomsday map. End of poem.
As someone once said, we'll see you down in Arizona Bay.
That's far-sighted, sir. Far-sighted, and you know I'm a big fan of Mr. Keenan. You know I am.
Well, I think even him, he was quoting Bill Hicks, I believe.
And I'm a big fan of Mr. Hicks too. He rests in fame these many years, but think of all the treasures he's brought to us during his life.
We have laughed. I appreciate the reads. This has gone well. We don't usually do that, and I would say it has occurred before, but it's not necessarily the norm. And I don't want to rule it out, of course. We do appreciate the reads. Where is that available, if anywhere, yet, Ricky?
Oh no, that one's like within the last couple months, more of a hot off the presses. But I could post my poetry book. I've already posted one, so I don't want to be vulgar.
Please.
So I'll go put that in the purple pill, yeah. And anyone you'll get a derivative of that in Twilight Cricket. It's a pretty decent book. I'll go get it.
Twilight Cricket is your poetry collection, then?
Yeah, Songs of the Twilight Cricket, poetry by Richard Andrew Olcus. It's available on Amazon.
Nice. Yeah, I like that title. I feel like it pairs well with Orchid Sundew Crocus, or is it Orchard Sundew Crocus? Orchard.
It's Orchard, right. Sundew Crocus, but I dig what you're saying. There is something sort of musical going on there. I try to do turns of phrases, you know what I mean?
A writer, I've heard.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's almost as if I have some sort of duty to that, being I am a writer. And I like I said, I used to be a poet. I don't know if I'm a poet anymore. I think that's part of what this spoken word experiment show is going to be, is to see, so we'll have to find out, won't we, Michael?
We're going to together. We're going to find out. And I would say that if you're writing it and you're reading it and recording it, then you're more than halfway there, I would say, in all the grand scheme of things. As I said yesterday as well, we can think at home for free, no cost. And it's when we start putting things down, cataloging those thoughts and connecting them up, turning them into ebooks and audiobooks and videos and things like that. That's where we invite people into our salon, let's say. For those that don't know, also, Ricky hosts spaces as well for writers. He does a novel design workshop as well with Paulette. She's not here, but they do it together. Definitely worth tuning in for what he's doing, and has begun releasing that stuff as recordings on Spotify. If you want to dive into the back catalog, it is available for you. Because I know that even if we do record here on Twitter, they don't necessarily stick around forever. So it's good to get a copy of that and put it out into the world. Distribute it,
Yes, we follow your example, Michael. You advocate for such, and you're very good at that. So I'm inspired, sir. I must say that's why I'm trying to pick it up here.
Well, here's the thing. I appreciate the kind words, but really, it is a service, that people pay attention. And so I have to keep putting the things out there for people that are doing me the service in the grand scheme of things. It's what is it? You kept making the stops. They kept ringing the bell. So we keep making the stops.
And this actually puts me in the mood to actually give you another poem there. One that I really kind of enjoy as a spoken word more than a poem. It's just, I do feel like poetry is an experience. And this poem, the experience, just kind of like really makes me sometimes want to rather do spoken word than writing, because the spoken word kind of gets closer to the artist, experiencing it also from the artist. So I hope you enjoy this one. This one is called Kisses to the Divine. Kisses to the divine, my heart's lament, to soothe the darkness, my tears are spent. A tribute to the legacy you leave, in memories, your presence, I still cleave. It started as a ride of pure desire, to be a father set my soul on fire, a dream of love so bright it gleamed, our bond unbreakable, or so it seemed. That little bump, a miracle profound, a blessing in disguise, joy knew no bound. Those heartbeats echoed, made me proud, a symphony of love, exalted and loud. You are more than just a fleeting dream, a precious life in my heart did gleam. In you my heart found its missing part, a family woven with love never to depart. Holding you close tenderly at night, my hand on her belly, love burning bright. But fate intervened, cruel and unfair, and all I had left were whispers of despair. How does one mourn souls never met? Unspoken goodbyes, a pain hard to forget. An emptiness consuming grief so vast, shock, anger, sadness, the storm that lasts. For mummy's sake, I mask my despair, hiding the shattered pieces with every prayer. Oh, how I long to tell you, my dear, how much I love you, whispering in your ear. May you dance in the meadows forever free, and sing with the angels in a celestial glee. This isn't farewell, sweet babies of mine. That is love ascends with kisses to the divine. End poem.
Very good. Couple of things. I appreciate your cadence and your meter as it relates to the rhyme scheming that you do. I like all of those things.
Like I say, spoken word is actually the oldest art form. So we can just marvel at it, but it is beauty. It is beauty in itself.
We are appreciators of the oral tradition. Terry, you've raised your hand. You don't have to do that. Hanging out.
I know it's just polite. This is fantastic. Oh my God. I love listening to Blue to Black's readings. They're really incredible and beautiful pieces, Blue to Black. Um, and it was great to hear the other two poets reading as well. And Michael, I know you said this space doesn't usually ask people to read, but maybe next time I'd like to read too, because I don't know how many of us actually when something is published actually go and do our own readings or schedule our own readings, because I haven't done that. But a lot of this reminds me of what happens like when I used to live in New York at St. Mark's Place, and it was incredible to hear like the poets read and the authors read their works and stuff like that. And it just, I don't know, for me, it would just give me practice because it's something that, makes my heart go pound really fast in my chest because I get very nervous about it. But
why are you going to make us wait?
Because my heart is pounding in my chest, and I am going to make you wait until I could like calm things down and do it without stuttering or stammering or having a moment when I twist of words. It's written correctly, but my brain twisted another way. So
I see.
But yeah, maybe we'll celebrate my last 3,500 on my book.
All right. Okay.
But this has been.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I really love this. I love that the writers are sharing, and it just creates a far more impactful session today.
What I'm hearing is you don't like the previous sessions, Terry. That's what I'm hearing.
Not true.
Brutal, absolute fatality.
Oh God, no, I didn't mean that at all.
It's fine. I'm only teasing. One woman has her hand raised.
It's only polite. And Terry, that's an excuse. And I've heard it a million times from a million poets and fiction writers and whoever has to talk about their work. So I hope that we can hear your poetry, you reading your poetry very, very soon. Because you're always going to feel that way. I don't care how many times I read. My heart is pounding a mile a minute. I know I'm going to just totally tongue tie everything. But you know what? Once you start, that first word, that second word, and then you're into it, it's you. You're reading you, and it'll be beautiful. It will be beautiful. So don't be afraid.
Inside track on my production methodology. I will do the readings for my audiobooks before the ebook versions or paperback versions are released. It's a way of doing a final proofing session of the text, and then also to basically give myself that media to work on, to chew on as I have the time to do so. Ricky, I think you raised your hand first. You guys are making me pay attention now. I see how it is.
Yeah, I'm with one woman here as far as having the bravery, the courage to read. And for that's for everyone. It's been my intention because I've ran read shows for a while. Because I used to belong to this writers club. And one of the things we always did during those meetings, some of them are recorded. We used to say, "Well, what do you got? Let's hear it. Let's hear it read." Because when you read it out loud, you express that courage, drawing from the confidence of your own material. Which if you want it to see the light of day, which for me is to honor the muse first. Secondly, there should be some sort of financial exchange, but first the muse. This happened. This is a creative exercise, and for me it's a very spiritual thing. So I think you should find that courage if you're writing to read chapters, read poems, and just let that get out. Like it feels wonderful to do it. That's the selfish part, is that it's scary, dude. Sometimes I get butterflies, and I've been at it hammer and tongs for years. But when you do it, and when you get that out, and when you've actually expressed yourself, which the society is like hell-bent on forbidding or at least constraining you from doing, in a creative way anyway, commercially, otherwise, you see where I'm going. But that's how I feel about it. I if you have something, read it. I'd love to hear it. That's all I'm saying.
I think the way to succinctly review the thoughts there is publish or perish, right? Like, get your work out there, and whether it is traditional publishing or performance at the same time, you gotta stick with it.
I not to be a Budinsky and to try to take over or anything, but I just finished this poem last night, and I've never read it out loud before, at least to anyone but myself. May I?
Well, sure. Yeah, we got Brandon with a hand raised. Brandon, do you have thoughts on the things we've been talking about, or would you like to hear a poem first? Let's give you the option.
I've got thoughts on what you guys have been talking about, and I'd like to hear some poetry. And I've got a little bit of other poetry too of my own. It's nothing fancy or anything, but I would read it too to maybe inspire Terry.
Okay. Well,
to read some of hers.
How about this? We'll let one woman read, then we'll turn the mic over to you for your thoughts, and then your read. Is that cool?
I like it.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Brandon. I can't wait to hear your poem, by the way. This is a prose poem, which is not the form I normally use, but it's feeling very natural these days for some reason. It's called I Sail Upon a Tempestuous Sea. I sail upon a tempestuous sea where each wave is a digital heartbeat and each gust of wind carries fragments of forgotten code. I'm a middle-aged voyager caught between the relentless churn of ancient myth and the pulsating promise of a new frontier. The storm around me is as much a memory as it is of water, a torrent of voices from Tennyson's Ulysses urging to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield, and the quiet hum of modern circuits whispering possibilities of life on Mars. In the cold spray of salt and silicone, I recall the bold words of a once young hero who dared to leave his realm behind, yearning for the unknown. His call resonates with a fierce urgency in my chest as I navigate these roiling currents, the very same currents that seem to digitalize the air, translating my hopes into streams of binary light. I feel the weight of centuries upon my shoulders, a burden of lost time and dreams deferred, and yet the sea is my canvas. Its chaotic rhythm, a reminder of each moment, is a brushstroke of destiny. The horizon blurs into an amalgamation of shifting water and data clouds where the ancient and the futuristic coalesce. I imagine distant worlds, a scarlet Martian plain lit with the same indifferent stars, and nascent colonies emerging like islands of hope amidst a barren dust. There, explorers will build with circuits and solar arrays, their hearts guided by a modern odyssey of discovery. As I steer through violent swells, see reflections of red dust and viral landscapes, the digital age entwining with the raw elemental force of nature. The crests of the waves sing out a hymn of struggle and triumph, notes of human perseverance echoing against the deep, like ancient mariners navigating by starlight. Like each surge of foam, each shudder of the ship becomes a metaphor for the ceaseless quest for meaning in a world transformed by technology. I ponder the irony of our age, a time when the vast, unexplored expanse of space is mapped with satellites and algorithms, yet the heart of human adventure remains as unruly as these seas. I recall the hero's restless spirit, whose yearning for exploration transcended the confines of his kingdom. In my own reflection, I see the the collision of two eras, the impassioned vigor of myth and the cool logic of digital architecture. The ocean, with its unpredictable swell and hidden depths, mirror my inner world, a realm of half remembered dreams, fragmented like shattered code, and still pulsating with the desire to reach beyond the known. In the distance, the sky fractures into iridescent glow of digital a, aurora, a promise of futures unbound by terrestrial limitations. I envision a time when our fragile vessels of flesh and silicone venture toward this red planet where human consciousness might merge with the logarithmic pulse of Mars, and where colonization is not merely survival, but a renaissance of spirit. The waves now carry whispers of space-faring pioneers, their voices interlaced with static, deep space communications, and the soft hum of renewable energy sources, signaling the dawn of a new era. As I press onward through the churning chaos, the tempest becomes a dialogue, a conversation between my ancient withered soul and the emergent coded language of tomorrow. The soar of the sea and the soft murmur of digital sounds intertwine, urging me to embrace the paradox that within the relentless fury of nature, and technology alike, there is beauty, purpose, and an eternal invitation to explore. I am both the mariner and the seeker, adrift on this boundless, tumultuous expanse, carrying within me the legacy of Ulysses and the spark of a digital age yet fully awakened. With every crashing wave, every pixel of light on the horizon, I am reminded that the journey, fraught with uncertainty, peril, and unyielding hope, is the very essence of life itself. Poem.
Very
And
nice.
thank you.
Yeah, very good. I loved the title of that one, and the thematic visual combinations you have in that one, touching on some of that in a new video that I'm trying to get out next week as well. Brandon, you've been patient. You're hanging out. Tell us what you're thinking, and then let's do a reading. We usually do this for an hour, and I think you're going to be taking us up to the hour, Brandon. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, I'm just kind of kicking around the house today now. Did my thing this morning, and I found that I needed some creative inspiration, I'll say. And so I tuned in here, and it was Mount Timeless, I think, was talking, and I like his idea of starting a poetry reading recital meeting time type thing. I think that's a very good idea. I think there's lots of opportunity for it. I know that there's other people that kind of do that already, and you might be good to get in touch with some of them. For one thought, I should introduce myself as well. I'm Brandon. I'm not published or anything like that. I am a beginning, aspiring writer. And I've got, I don't know, a smattering of poems, and I've got 8 chapters at least of outline. I'm not sure what my word count is at on my little novelette that I've got going, but yeah, I've got that.
Very cool.
And Yeah, yes, because there's, like I was saying, I belong to a couple little groups where we have creative little get-togethers every once in a while right now. If I figure out how, I might be able to drop a link into the. I'm not good at this,
Well,
so
you can put a comment in the purple pill with the little kind of word bubble on the bottom right. I don't know if you're on desktop or mobile. Either way will work. And then, you can post it up into the nest as well. Did you have something you wanted to read? I believe you mentioned.
yes, I will read a short little poem. It'll take less than a minute to read my poem.
Rip it.
It's called Little Lighthouse. Little lighthouse on the shore, how many times I've seen you before, sometimes on a sunny day, and sometimes from very far away, shining brightly in the darkness, home port waiting, warmth and kindness. Little lighthouse on the shore, how many times I've seen you before. Poem.
Very good. Yeah. This has been a surprise. I did not know we were going to be doing this round robin poetry reading session today. It's snuck up on us. I do appreciate you guys making the effort and bringing the sauce.
Yes, but we still need the recitement from you and Terry. Why don't you present something there? I know you've got something.
Oh gosh, I don't immediately have something on me, and when I do these sessions, I'm kind of at here in Houston, just operating the technology, trying to keep it all from breaking down at mission control here. So I do not have a thing handy on me presently. That's not to say that I can't do it in the future. I will say this. We've been going for about an hour. We usually go for about an hour, and this is every 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, perhaps I will have prepared myself to make sure I have something up on one of the many screens in front of me so that I can make it easy on myself without stumbling over the technology, the hardware. But at the same time, here's a little PSA. Ricky, hosting at least once a week, Twitter Spaces. Brandon, maybe you start hosting this poetry reading thing, and there is currently an audience for it, we've discovered. And on Tuesdays, Heidi and I host the Writer's Block. It's a 2-hour session, thematic stuff. We're talking about writing. We're talking about publishing as well. And it's really about exploring ideas. She does a great job with that, and luckily lets me hang out and co-host with her. This is really, we make of it whatever we choose to in the time that we have, the 1 hour time every other week. But, here's the thing. If you want to go back and listen to the older sessions, they're all up on podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts. They're on YouTube. They're on Spotify. They're on Pandora and wherever else you choose to get your podcasts. Brandon, real quick. Yeah, hit us.
Totally, really quick. I got that post into the purple pill, and it looks right and everything. And yeah, this has been excellent.
Perfect. Yeah. So we will be back again in 2 weeks. Stay tuned. And, if you want to read or if you want to talk, if you have questions or you want to promote, this is the opportunity to do all that. As for today, I do appreciate you hanging out, and we'll talk again before too long.